What up, YouTube? It's your boy Banks, and we back in the building, you feel me? It's True Talks, cause True Talks, alright? Let's get straight right into it. So you already know, man, obviously right now we're gonna talk about the Toronto Raptors and, what's been going on with them over, this last stretch. Basically, ever since Pascal came back, and it's not to put, all these losses and all these things negatively on, Pascal and make it seem like he's just a trash player and stuff like that, because, I've been basically enlightening people and kind of like highlighting certain things that have maybe to the most people shown a negative light on Pascal, right? So when you look at it, I don't want people to think that, oh my goodness, he's hating on the guy and all this type of stuff. And I've said that before, but at some point you have to the footage don't lie. If you have a trained eye, you know what I mean? You can know why, basically. So at the end of the day, it's just the footage tells me everything. When I go back and watch, when I watch in real time, when I slow it down, when I look at everything and I just look at the Playstyle Clash that I've been trying to explain to people from time, especially how it's affecting Scotty, offensively, and, just the team in their flow. People won't see these things in real time. People won't understand because they'll look at the stats and look at the numbers and this and that, because Pascal individually hasn't played a terrible season. Now, terrible for his standards as a number one option and a guy that has been increasing, because he's averaging 17.7, basically 18 points per game. And the year before that, he averaged 22. The year before that, he averaged, the year before that, he averaged 23. Let me actually make sure. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, the year before that, he averaged 23, 22.9, then 21, and now 17.7. So he's dropped for the last two seasons, but, that's finally his situation hasn't changed. Like I told people, this is the first time that his situation hasn't traded and he's been decreasing. What does that tell you? It's not someone who has gotten better. Remember when he averaged 4 points and 7.3 and then 16.9, then 22.9. People are looking at it as, oh my goodness, Pascal. Oh my God, my goodness, he only gets better every single time and he's only this amount of age and whatever. And I'm like, dog, Pascal basically is 27. Pascal has entered his prime. Prime years are 27 to 31. That's the old age prime years. Nowadays, prime is probably going to be 27. It could even stretch to 33, 34 because of how the play style and the fluidity and the spacing and the jump shooting that's, existing in this new NBA. But, back then, obviously, the prime was 27 to 31-ish, around there, 32, right? But, again, Pascal's entering his prime, and this is his worst season that he's had in his last 3 years as the number one option. Like I said, 22.9 number one option, 21.4, now 17.7. He's dropped. And obviously it's early in the season for Pascal, but, like I was trying to tell people, like seeing someone get better, when you see them in the same situation for 2, 3, 4 seasons, that's when you can really equate if a player got better or not. In the same situation, that's what I mean. Same situation, same opportunity type of thing. That's when you could see someone's getting better. Perfect example is like a Damian Lillard. He's been, when LaMarcus left and he's the number one option, you see his stats and his play and his production increase. Same goes for Steph Curry. Same goes for other players. Now, obviously there's more context to it, but if you just look at it and hindsight and to sum it up, when you're in your number one option or your same situation, let's say like even CJ McCollum in his same number 2, 1B type of situation that he's been for multiple years, you see an increase in percentage, an increase in production, an increase somewhere. So you're like, okay, clearly he has worked on his bag in certain aspects of his game. He has redefined or, kind of fine-tuned, and kind of got new tools in the toolbox or whatever the case is, and got the, just improved drastically or just improved slightly, whatever the case is. But when you look at Pascal, that's what I was trying to tell people from time. And it's been a broken record for me saying this all the time, that Pascal, for those seasons where, 7.3, 16.9, and 22.9, that was 7.3 when he had that. He was just a backup, rotational, off the bench player, right? Part of the bench mob. Then in 16.9, that's when Kawhi came, and that's when he became elevated with Nick Nurse. into the starting power forward position. Ibaka, as a power forward, went to play the backup center position. So Pascal now became the number 2 option in that situation, which means his production is going to increase. So he went from 7.3 to 16.9. Oh my God, look at the jump. He got basically most improved, all that type of stuff. But the stats is most improved. But his play style, if you look, like I said, from the G League highlights and you look at his highlights, it's the same guy, just more opportunity. Then you look the next year, what happens? Kawhi leaves. He increases now to a number 1 option role, right? From number 2 now to number 1. A new improvement in his production, a new improvement in the situation for 3 straight years. Backup rotation to second with Kawhi, right? To now number 1 without Kawhi. That's 3 straight years of situation improving. 16.9, 22.9. Sorry, 7.3, 16.9, and 22.9. And then what happens? Now he's in his number 1 option for the second season. What happens? Drop to 21.4. Number 1 option for the third season. Drop to 17.7. So that tells you in a nutshell that when his situation stayed the same, he didn't stay the same. He actually decreased. Is that someone who really has improved their game? Is that someone who has added more to the arsenal, improved their bag, etc.? No, it is not. It's the same guy, but now he's getting better defenses, better coverages. The funny thing is the irony is in it, because they always say Devin Booker was getting empty stats. DeMarcus Cousins was getting empty stats. You know what I'm saying? There's bare guys that they always mention. Even they say Bradley Beal was getting empty stats. Zach LaVine was getting empty stats. What they mean by that is someone who was getting bare points. Anyone could do that on a bad team. Someone has to take 20 shots. That's what they always say. So if Pascal was on a bad team, why did his numbers decrease? Shouldn't it have increased his points because you're in a bad situation? Someone has to take those shots. Exactly. No, that's not the case. It's actually harder when you're the main guy on a bad team to actually get proper buckets and snap, because what happens? The defense focus on you majority. There's not that much space and they can shrink the floor. They won't force others to beat you. So like for you to snap in that situation at an efficient or even decent efficiency or whatever the case is, it's going to be actually harder. It's actually reverse. You know what I'm saying? Because, man, like, you know, it's easier to actually snap. Like they say, it's easier to snap when now there's another guy with you. You know what I mean? They can't double, so there's more room. It's just your production. The only difference is your production and your opportunities are way more as the main guy. But I'm talking about, does that always translate to snapping? No, it doesn't. You clearly seen with Pascal. So that's just to debunk all those narratives that, you know, Raptors fans and a lot of people like to throw out. And that's why I'm here to, you know, give that IQ, because that's what I do. You know what I'm saying? So when you look at it from that perspective, like I was saying, honestly, Pascal has decreased. But I don't mean to harp on him and make it seem like, oh, the man's trash or anything like that. It's just assessing what's happening, assessing the play style, assessing the footage, and being real with it at the end of the day. Like, real recognize real, that's what it's about. Having real authenticity and, you know, genuine just outlook of the game and appreciating the game to its purest form. So, you know, that's what I always strive to do. And that's what I kind of, is that first and everything else second. No matter who you like or whatever. The game tells you who to like or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So when you look at it from that perspective, like I was saying, man, obviously Pascal has struggled coming into this season, the 10 games he's played, basically. And he's 2-8 with the Raptors in those 10 games. There's a reason for this. People, oh, it's a small sample size. Now it's increasing. And the same trajectory is the same. Lose 3, win 1. Lose 3, you know what I mean? That type of stuff. And that's what Pascal on the floor. Pascal don't play, they win 1. That's their only game in this last 11 games that they won without Pascal when he hasn't been on the floor, right? So when you look at it, like, there's things happening. Look at Scottie Barnes. Scottie Barnes was averaging 18 points before Pascal came. Now Pascal came, his main average dropped to 15. But if you look at those 10 games that he's played with Pascal, he's only averaged 11 points. Draymond type of stats. So, you know, when you look at it, even in the last game, like, I saw Scottie Barnes' ability. I saw, you know, the shooting, and I saw the certain things that he was doing. Like the shooting, that even I ripped through, that looked like Katie, that one where he went, you know, and then shot it. Like, that was beautiful. Like, him just being confident shooting threes. But, like, why do you think he had to take more threes than he actually normally takes? Because of the spacing issue, because of the Playstyle Clash. So These are things that people have to pay attention to. It interrupts his flow, interrupts the team's flow, balls in his hand less. You know what I'm saying? Like, all these things are reasons, right? Reasons why you're seeing what you're seeing. So when you look at it from that perspective, like, man, you have to understand that Pascal, like, is just a play style clash with him and Scotty. You could see it. You could see it. If you really use your eyes, you could really see it, right? And then, you know, just again, like I was saying, the flow before. I've talked about this multiple times with OG and, you know, Trent and Van Vliet. The flow gets interrupted a lot actually, because Pascal now is forced to ISO and get buckets one-on-one when he shouldn't be. He should be getting it on the back end or within the flow of the offense. He shouldn't be, you know, isolating like that OD, especially when, you know, the bag isn't there like that. So, and the paint is, you know, clogged a little bit and stuff like that. So, you know, mans are shrinking the floor. When you look at that, that's what's like, you got to change how you're moving. But, you know, at the end of the day, the Raptors, especially with the last game, faced the Celtics, and you could see that, like, their offense is a struggle, right? Their offense is a struggle. Their defense isn't OD bad, especially, like, you know, missing OG and Trent, deflection, especially with Trent, you know what I mean, top of the league in that. And then OG really has great defense, right? So, you know, when you have those guys missing, chances are it's going to be harder to win. But even with those guys there was an offensive struggle, right? Since Pascal's came back, when they faced the Celtics, they've struggled. The first time they played the Celtics, let's go even see. The first time they played the Celtics, it was 115-83. The Celtics struggled, and the Raptors scored 115 easily, killing. Scotty Barnes killed. That was the debut game of his, you know, for his rookie season. Then the next game, 104-88, they lose to the Celtics, struggling. 88 points in 2021. You know what I'm saying? Then you look at it, 109-97. They didn't break 100 ever since Pascal came back. The Celtics have padded them. It's similar to when the Celtics padded them, you know, even in the bubble. Similar to that, like, where it's like, mans are not scoring like that. So, you know, it's not that it's all on Pascal's shoulders, but the way the Raptors play, they haven't adjusted to the new Pascal factor. They went back to their old ways when you have a Scotty, when you have different players. Gary Trent is, you know, here like that. So you can't go back to your old ways of with Lowry, Van Vliet, Marcus Gasol, Ibaka, the space in his OD. Pascal could get it in, spin. Hey! You know what I mean? It's different now. You have Achua. You have Scotty, right? You have Kem Birch. Those are three bigs that don't really shoot the floor, like shoot the ball like that and space the floor. Scotty will hit here and there, but you can't, like, you could live and die. You could live with him shooting that if you're the opposing team. So, you know, it's just this play style clash. The offensive flow is being interrupted. And at the end of the day, it comes down to, this is why, with the root of all of this, is like, will it ever fix? And if it doesn't ever fix and it stays like this is the trajectory of them not even making the play-in, something that I actually anticipated coming in, either making the play-in or just missing it. I felt that they were going to be in the same similar spot as last year. So when you look at it, it's like a lot of people had high hopes. A lot of people thought they could do something OD in the playoffs and stuff like that. And it doesn't mean the season's over. It doesn't mean I'm writing it off or anything like that. But it's just when you break down the game and you understand what the team's strengths are, the team's weaknesses are, they're playing in their weakness basically because Pascal's forced to get buckets like that when he should actually be getting it in the flow. So you're like playing at a weakness. You know, what do you expect? It's the same thing they did the previous season, playing at a weakness where, you know, you have lack of shooting bigs, Pascal, redundant play style in terms of guys who need the paint. So Pascal gets affected, you know, in terms of his field goal percentage, etc. And it's, you know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, I foresaw this. I tried to foresee it. I tried to understand that, like, break it down and see where, you know, who is what, who is who, what is what. And at the end of the day, I saw what is what. So, you know, I think that, again, I've said this from before, Nurse has to maybe change something up, but it's hard to change something up when you have, and that's the problem with the Raptors. They always adhere to the fans. I'm not saying that the fans are wrong in this situation in terms of letting Scotty eat, letting him be himself. Also, You know, a lot of people say he should come off Pascal, let him come off the bench or whatever the case is and all that type of stuff. Like, you gotta understand, like, at the end of the day, man, these things, like, the play style is just so different that what it's been used to, that now with the Raptors being forced, like, you have, like, again, media, and you have guys loving Scotty. Like, they love Scotty OD. He's high on the rookie ladder, you know, rookie of the year ladder, all that type of stuff. Is you can't really, that's where the politics plays in. You can't really, like, you're going to have to adhere to what the people want Scotty play. You know what I'm saying? You can't just bring him off the bench. Not saying that he should. Just saying you can't even exhaust that option because he's forced your hand by his good play out the gate. So if you bench him now, you're going to get ridiculed. You're going to get, you know, you're going to get some flack for that. Then Pascal, the money he's making, you're going to get ridiculed. You're going to get some flack for that. So it's like, remember, they boosted Pascal to this higher echelon. It's like you lose type of thing for Nick Nurse. How does he really? That's why I'm like, I knew they were going to be stuck in this. This is not something they could change unless you had a guy like a coach who does not care. Long hair don't care, like the Jewish. You know what I'm saying? Like, if he actually just came there and was like, forget everything. Enough is enough. I'm doing this. And man's have to, if you sulking, if you want to, don't care who you are, if you're a superstar, bench you. That's the one thing Casey did. What happened? He was out of here when he benched, you know, DeRozan in the playoffs versus the Cavs. So, like, their hands is kind of forced, basically, right? So when you look at it from that perspective, with his hands being forced, you know what I mean? Like, at some point, you got to understand that, like, this is the cards that the Raptors are basically dealt. And that's why I kind of foreseen this, and I kind of knew that this is what's going to be happening. I kind of knew that. So for me to actually make that prediction and make that kind of, you know, assessment coming into the season, especially anticipating how Scotty will look playing alongside Pascal, which is hence, you know, what I've been preaching about this whole time. But, you know, that's where I had the Raptors hovering around the play-in or outside the play-in, that area. I don't see them 8 seed, or if they make 8 seed, they have to snap in the play-in. Like, I don't see them just out the gate, you know what I mean? Especially with the East looking like the new West right now in terms of the teams' win records and how solid the teams are. Like, the West is looking like how the East normally looks, and the East is looking how the West normally looks. So that's also a testament, and that's something I also anticipated, which is why I was like, with all these great teams, or at least good teams, solid teams that were mediocre have gotten better, and the Raptors didn't get better, I anticipate that they're going to be exactly where they're at, because everyone else around them has improved. Remember, the Bulls were under them. They've improved. The Hornets, similar, they were slightly above 9, whatever seed. They improved. All the weaker teams improved. And then the better teams, the Heat, improved, right? So, like, when you look at it, like, even look at where the standings are. Look at the Hawks, like, look where mans are. So, you know, and even the Celtics, like, and that's that. And I'm like, those teams, even if they didn't improve, they're still better than the Raptors. So that's why I anticipated what I anticipated. But, you know, let me know what y'all think, man. At the end of the day, like, I don't think, like I said, unless you have a coach that, like, Nurse just goes, forget everything. I'll take the flack but again, then you now you could lose your job. The players get mad at you. Like there's so many things like that go on and go into this. That's why I'm like, I kind of just know, like, there's nothing Nurse can do. That's what it comes down to. Nothing Nurse can do. And he has to just go with the cards that he's dealt. So that's why you're going to see the same rotations, the same. I mean, he's going to mix it up with a 1-2 playing, you know, Banton, or, you know, let's go, you know, Yuta or whatever. Like a 1-2, a Justin type of, you know, spark plug type of players will be in the rotation. But for the most part, the mains are the main, and that's not going to change, right? So we'll see how it transpires. But, man, it's not a great look for the Raptors, man, especially like how you lose that game versus Celtics with Tatum going 2 for 16. Not even closer, like not even close. But like, when you even look at these losses, like majority of the losses are actual substantial type of wins. They're not even like close games. That was a great win that the Raptors had versus Memphis where they turned it around, but that was on the verge of being the same thing. You know, handily winning. Comfortable with a cushion. You know what I'm saying? Because them boys be pushing. So, and you just got to understand, man, like, It is what it is. It is what it is. We'll see how things transpire. Let me know what y'all think in the comment section. I already know. I mess with y'all already. And, you know, y'all that been here since day one, you're basically a day one. And if you haven't, you're basically a day one. I appreciate y'all, man. Share, like, and subscribe. We out here. There's no doubt here. There's no drought here. It's true talks. Because true talks, you feel me? Like I always say, I appreciate y'all. Spread the word. You know what I mean? This is what LA looks like at the end of the day. You already know, man. And I'm out, man.